This is the JMC Vigus. Let's do a review.
The JMC Vigus Work variant is the new workhorse truck in the brand's current lineup of vehicles. It shares a stable with the all-new Grand Avenue, but presents itself as a more utilitarian option. For the 4x4 model shown in the video, it is priced at 1,110,000 pesos and positions itself as an attractive option for those looking to get an affordable 4x4 workhorse truck. So, how does the new Vigus handle as a work truck, and can it compete with established nameplates in the pickup truck segment? Let's find out.
So you may be wondering why this car looks so dirty. Well, this is a workhorse, so we did workhorse kind of things with it and brought it off-road and did a bunch of other related stuff. Anyway, with regards to the front, this is the new Vigus. I mean, well, they gave it a new front face and updated the interior slightly. But aside from that, though, it's gives it a more macho look, a more, utilitarian look. It reminds me kind of like the Land Cruiser, except with a more content kind of smile down here, which is kind of cute, to be honest. Anyway, aside from that, there's not much in the way of features up here, but you do have halogen headlights, which are projector, by the way, for your low beam, and multi-reflector for your high beam. And down below, you also do get the fog lights here, which are unfortunately halogen, but it's not bad considering it's a workhorse. Anyway, let's move on to the side. So, since this is a workhorse pickup truck, JMC has gone the extra mile and has given you alloy wheels. Now, they kind of look like what you'd find in the previous generation D-Max, but with regards to sizing, though, these are 16-inch alloy wheels wrapped in 245/70 series tires. Now, it's a great addition because these are all-terrain. It's just weird that the brand of the tire, the circular tire, is called Triangle, so that's something. Anyway, aside from that, though, you do get repeaters on the side mirror, which are all LED, which is a nice touch considering that the other base model or workhorse-oriented pickup trucks don't actually come with that. Anyway, let's move on to the bed. So at the back, JMC has provided you with a metal bed bar, which is great if you need stuff to tie down to it at the back of the truck, and also tie downs that are located on the outside of the bed, which is kind of strange for me because usually other trucks would have them right somewhere in the inside. But yeah, these are great additions to the car that make it more of a workhorse kind of pickup truck. Anyway, with regards to the back, well, you don't really get much stuff back here aside from the JMC logo. Oh, and the reverse sensors, and of course, halogen tail lights. Now, I have to point out the reverse sensors again because other trucks in its segment, the workhorse segment, don't really come with any driver aids to help you reverse it. But I'm happy that JMC did put that there. Oh, and before I forget, it does come with LED plate lights, which is a plus for me. So for the bed, you don't really get much in the way of assistance here because it's a workhorse. Again, it's more of utilitarian, so it's a little bit heavy to lift up and fold back up. But for dimensions, we'll put it somewhere here. And it comes with a cargo capacity of around 895 kilos, which is not bad. And getting into the truck, you also get more tie downs down here and over here as well for extra support if you want to make sure your load is secure. So inside the Vigus, it's very much a utilitarian feel. You do have hard plastics, hard yet durable plastics all around. And you do have this unique addition to the dashboard and a little bit of a scratchy plastic here, which gives it a little more a premium feel, which I kind of like because it's also textured as well. Anyway, on the sides, you do have central locking, which is a feature you don't normally find in other workhorse-related pickup trucks, along with the power windows as well. Now, for the gauge cluster, it's understandably analog, but it does come with a small monochrome digital display here for your fuel economy, distance, and, well, remaining distance, and of course, other information that you might need to know about the pickup truck. Now, the steering wheel is understandably polyurethane, but it does come with buttons which aren't exactly present in other pickup trucks in this segment. Now, these do control the infotainment system and a bunch of other things with regards to the gauge cluster. Oh, and before I forget, here's what the horn sounds like. I'm just kidding now. This is actually what it sounds like. So, with regards to the infotainment system, there is no touchscreen here. All it has is, well, this proprietary head unit that comes with AM and FM radio. But it does have Bluetooth capabilities, except the speaker system is, well, kind of bare bones. It's just like a two-speaker setup system. But again, it's understandable since JMC is positioning this as a workhorse pickup truck. Now, right below the proprietary head unit is a small JMC logo here, which is a nice touch, by the way. That's where your air vents and hazard button switch are. Now, right below that, you do have manual air conditioning controls down here, which just controls temperature and fan, which also includes heating, which is weird for a tropical country like the Philippines, but I understand why they put this in, because you might get cold if you take this up to Baguio. Now, with regards to storage space, well, you do get some storage space here, of course, the glove box here, and a cup holder here, and the center console over here. Now, it also has card holders and a phone holder right here where the cup holder is, which fits my phone, well, perfectly as well. And that's really about it, aside from its cloth seats that have four-way adjustability for the driver. As you can tell, it's actually very difficult to adjust the seats. So before we go to the rear, I have to point out that the Vigus does not come with carpeting. It comes with vinyl instead, which is actually pretty great because it's easier to clean if you have any like mud or liquids or whatever that come into the cabin. It's much easier for the person cleaning the car to vacuum them. Now, don't get me wrong, it does come with carpeting right here, but that's just about it. So back here, well, understandably, there's not much in the way of toys or features, but you do have soft cloth seats which have decent amount of padding because the suspension's kind of a little bit stiff. Now, on the door cards, you do have your power window switches and a cup holder or bottle holder down here. Now, if you think there are speakers down here, well, there aren't any because it's just plastic, but at least there's a space where you can put speakers into if you want to sort of modify the Vigus later on and update its sound system. Now, as it is a pickup truck, it does come with solid storage options back here for your tools and whatever else you might need, and more storage down here if you want to store, I don't know, like random bottles of stuff. And really, that's about it. Now, let's go for a drive. Okay, so getting inside the Vigus is a little bit of a tricky situation because of the seatbelt. Now, the seatbelt buckle itself is kind of, or receiver, is recessed back here in the seat, which can be difficult to get in and out of or to clasp together. But once you do find it and you clasp it together, it's a pretty straightforward driving experience. Now, we're currently in a parking lot and we're about to leave. And what I can tell you is, one, the steering wheel is very light for the Vigus. And two, finding the biting point of the clutch can be a little bit difficult because it's not as responsive as, let's say, what you'd find in Japanese cars. Now, finding the biting point, well, you have to pay attention to the revs because it will give you a clue as to where that biting point is. Now, when you're near it, the revs will automatically go up. And it's a preemptive measure that I think JMC did so that they could sort of anti-stall. It's like an anti-stall feature for the Vigus. Now, aside from that, though, the shifter itself is easy to get into, despite the fact that it has a rather large field of play. But once you do find the gate, it is kind of notchy. One of the things, though, I did notice with the shifter is that it kind of, it's hard to, it's crunchy. It's a little bit crunchy, but in a good kind of way. As for riding the car itself, or the car's ride comfort, well, it's understandably bumpy, no? It's because of the suspension tuning. The way that JMC designed the suspension is, well, to carry a load, which means that if you're just two or you're solo in the car, then the ride can be a bumpy experience. It can, bump you up and down. It's what we call matagtag, so to speak. And that's really about it, no? If you're fully loaded, which I have done, I've tried driving the Vigus around with 4 passengers, the suspension kind of hunkers down and becomes more comfortable. And you can tell that, ride quality goes up. It also helps that the seats at the front are also very soft and supportive. But I can't say the same for the people in the back because the seats in the back are a little more stiff. Now, we did try this car with a load, and it was actually not that bad, no? it felt very comfortable and still very good to drive despite the load. Aside from that, though, we did also bring this car off-road, as you can probably see from our multitude of B-rolls and whatever else have you. But yeah, it drove well there, like any other four-wheel drive pickup truck would. It's just that this doesn't come with locking differentials for the front or the rear, so you have to choose your battles wisely. Aside from that, though, it's fairly easy to get into 4 high because there's a knob right here so that you can switch from 4 high, 2 high, and 4 low on the fly. Now, powering the Vigus is a 2.5-liter turbo diesel that produces a whopping 130 horsepower and 315 Newton meters of torque. As this is a workhorse-oriented pickup truck, it is mated to a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, it's not bad, it's not good, but the power band of the engine is a little bit too thin for me. It reaches peak torque at around 1,800 RPM, and it goes all the way up to 2,800 RPM for its max torque. It's a very thin power band considering that you have 5 gears to choose from, which again limits your power. When I was driving it and I was trying to overtake other vehicles, other slower vehicles on the highway, I found myself shifting more often than I shouldn't. But at least the gears are designed for like low speed hauling, so to speak. That the car is comfortable enough to be in 5th gear at around 50 kilometers per hour, which isn't bad and helps aid in its fuel economy. Now, as you can probably see behind me, I'm not exaggerating the bounce here. It's actually just the road and the suspension of the Vigus because we don't have anything in the back. Now, going back to driving, in terms of fuel economy, you're looking at around 10 in the city. At worst, maybe 9. So 9 to 10 in the city. And then on the highway, you're looking at around 12 to 15 on a good day if you are consistently traveling at around 60 to 80 kilometers per hour. That is the sweet spot for the Vigus in its top gear, which is 5th. But aside from that, though, it handles like a normal pickup truck. Since it is a work-oriented pickup truck, you don't really have much in the way of sound deadening. Yeah, you can still hear road noise, and you can still hear a little bit of engine noise, especially on the highway where you're traveling at about 100 kilometers per hour. Now, the engine is humming at around 2221, which is well within its peak power. But at the same time, yeah, the drone can get annoying, especially because of the limited factor of its infotainment system. But aside from that, it handles pretty well. One thing I do have to note, though, is on rougher roads like this or uneven roads, the steering wheel likes to shake a lot. But the car will still track straight. It just wiggles back and forth, which can be alarming. Which can be a little bit alarming for some people. But at the same time, at least it's there, right? That's basically it.
The JMC Vigus Work 4x4 presents itself as a value for money option, especially as it is significantly cheaper than the rest of its rivals. However, it still has a lot to prove with regards to being a tough truck, especially as its competitors already have years of experience behind them. It may have a few quirks and a slight learning curve to it, but it's something you or your workers can easily get used to over time. It also offers you more creature comfort features that you would not normally find with its competitors, making the pickup truck easier to use and more convenient as well. While it may not have the most powerful turbo diesel out there, it still has enough power to get the job done despite its relatively thin power band. It also helps that the Vigus has a lifetime warranty on the engine, hinting that it can take a beating and keep on kicking. Overall, it's a workhorse truck that would look and feel right at home on the farm or on a job site.